On a cold December evening in 1979, an 18-year-old woman walked across a shopping mall parking lot in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It was just before Christmas. The mall was busy. The area was well lit. Michelle Martinko had finished shopping and was heading back to her car. She never made it home. Her body was found later that night inside her vehicle. She had been brutally attacked. There were no witnesses, no clear suspect. For nearly 4 decades, the case remained unsolved. Hundreds of tips, dozens of suspects. No arrest. Then, almost 40 years later, a single piece of evidence changed everything. This is the story of Michelle Martinko, and one of the longest-running unsolved murder investigations in American history. Michelle Ann Martinko was born in 1961 and raised in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. She was 18 years old at the time of her death, a high school senior preparing for graduation and planning her future. Friends and family described Michelle as kind, responsible, and focused. She worked part-time, had strong relationships with her parents, and was known for her reliability. There was nothing in her background that suggested risk-taking or involvement in dangerous situations. On December 19, 1979, Michelle went to Westdale Mall to shop for Christmas gifts. This was a normal activity during the holiday season. The mall was a central gathering place in Cedar Rapids, frequented by families, teenagers, and workers finishing their day. Michelle was not alone inside the mall, but she left by herself. Her plans for the evening were ordinary. She intended to return home after shopping. She did not mention meeting anyone. There were no reports of arguments, threats, or unusual behavior. Her parents expected her back later that night. When she did not return, concern grew. Eventually, her father went to the mall to look for her. What he found would change the family forever. Michelle's body was discovered inside her car, parked in the mall lot. The scene indicated a violent struggle had occurred. The shock of the crime spread quickly through the community. Cedar Rapids was not known for extreme violence, especially crimes of this nature involving young women in public places. Michelle's life up to that point had been stable and predictable. That is what made the case so disturbing. There was no obvious reason she would have been targeted. Understanding who Michelle was is essential to understanding the case. She was not living on the margins. She was not involved in dangerous activity. She was a teenager finishing Christmas shopping, and that fact would haunt the investigation for decades. The discovery of Michelle Martinko's body took place in the parking lot of Westdale Mall, a public and familiar location. The area was not isolated. Lights illuminated the lot. Other vehicles were nearby. Michelle had been attacked inside her car. The violence was severe, indicating rage or extreme aggression. Investigators determined that the assault happened quickly, leaving Michelle little opportunity to escape or call for help. There were no signs that she knew her attacker. No witnesses came forward who had seen the attack. No one reported hearing screams or a struggle. This absence of witnesses would become one of the most frustrating elements of the case. The crime scene yielded limited physical evidence. In 1979, forensic science was far less advanced than it is today. DNA analysis was not yet available in a usable form for criminal investigations. Investigators collected what they could: fibers, fingerprints, and biological material. However, the technology to fully analyze that evidence simply did not exist at the time. The brutality of the crime shocked investigators. There was no clear motive. Robbery did not appear to be the primary reason. Michelle's belongings were largely intact. This suggested the attack was personal or impulsive. The randomness of the crime created fear throughout the community. Parents worried about their children. Shoppers questioned their safety. The idea that such violence could occur in a well-lit public place challenged assumptions about security. From the start, investigators understood they were dealing with a serious and complex case. But without witnesses or clear leads, progress was slow. The parking lot became a symbol of unanswered questions. In the weeks and months following Michelle Martinko's murder, law enforcement pursued numerous leads. Friends, acquaintances, and individuals known to frequent the mall were questioned. Several suspects emerged, but none could be conclusively linked to the crime. Some had alibis. Others lacked physical evidence tying them to the scene. Tips poured in from the public. Many were well-intentioned, Others were based on rumors or speculation. Sorting credible information from noise became increasingly difficult. As time passed, the case grew colder. Detectives revisited the evidence periodically, hoping advances in technology might offer new possibilities. However, for years, the limitations remained. The Martinko family lived with uncertainty. Without answers, there was no closure. Holidays, anniversaries, and everyday moments were marked by loss. The case remained open but inactive. For decades, Michelle's murder was remembered as one of Cedar Rapids' most disturbing unsolved crimes. A reminder that justice does not always arrive quickly. In the early 2000s, forensic science reached a turning point. DNA analysis became more precise and more widely used in cold cases. Investigators revisited the evidence collected in 1979. Biological material preserved from the crime scene was tested using modern methods. For the first time, a usable DNA profile was developed. This profile was entered into national databases. Years passed with no match. Then, in 2017, investigators turned to genetic genealogy, a technique that uses public DNA databases to identify relatives of an unknown suspect. This approach narrowed the field dramatically. In 2018, authorities arrested Jerry Lee Burns, a former co-worker of Michelle's. DNA evidence linked him directly to the crime. Nearly 40 years after the murder, an arrest was finally made. Jerry Lee Burns was convicted in 2018. For Michelle's family, the verdict brought long-awaited answers, but not time returned. The case revealed the power of modern forensic science. It also highlighted the limitations of investigations constrained by technology. Michelle Martinko's murder was not unsolved because of indifference. It remained unresolved because the tools did not yet exist. This case matters because it shows that some answers arrive only with time, and that justice, even delayed, still matters. Michelle Martinko was not forgotten. Her case stands as a reminder that cold cases are not closed stories. They are waiting ones.